Hello, check, check. Oh, there's audio now. Okay, cool. That's good. And I don't hear the usual disturbance. I'm This is being really weird. Why? Just hang on, guys. I don't know why this is not working. Maybe if I do it this way. Okay, it seems to be working for now, but every time I stop talking, okay, guys, I'm really sorry about this, but I had to ditch the AirPods, which means today's audio quality is not going to be better than last week's. I sincerely apologize about this, but right now I don't have much of a choice. I haven't been able to buy an external mic. I don't really want to use my big headphones because they kind of, I don't know, they've started to hurt my head. Um, but anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. I think for now this is fine. Most people could hear me quite clearly the last episode as well. It might be a little muddy, but I will try and speak slowly and as clearly as possible for you. So, we're gonna go into a slightly long chat today, but I really hope you enjoy it. A lot of this is a little bit close to me and stuff that I think I would not be thinking about or I would not have learned if I did not play some sport since I was a kid. So without wasting more time, let's start. Hi again, everyone. It's me, Ninja, back to do the thinking that no one is caring about. Considering how well the first one went, it seems, even though I think no one cares, I have miraculously found a few people who do. So thank you for that. If you watched the last episode or any of the other episodes, I'm very grateful. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about motivation and excuses. Yeah, that's right. I will try not to rant, but first one is motivation and excuses. We'll then talk about true discipline and flexibility. I'll then talk about athletes' chemical X and what that entails. Um, and the fourth one is something that I might rant about, but high performance individuals, sports people, athletes are not lucky. And we're going to look into how they've built themselves to be who they are. Okay? Um, so if you need to, please grab your coffee, have some water, refill whatever bottles you need to. If this is your time to take your medicine, please go ahead and take your medicine because we've got a long ride ahead of us. Okay. So the first topic that I want to discuss today is motivation and excuses. We really tend to think that not having motivation to do something is enough of a reason to not do it. And I'd like to sit here and tell you that it's not a reason to begin with, it's an excuse. And unfortunately, today, in today's day and age, it's suddenly become okay to not be okay, to the point where you're actually capable of doing so much, but you've consumed so much repeated and unrelated information through social media and all these rubbish articles, unverified articles from people who are not mental health experts, that you feel it's fine to treat yourself like a child and eventually treat yourself badly. In fact, our expectations from ourselves when we were children, we would probably not have allowed ourselves so much time to not be okay and just not do anything about it, right? So, let me first say that I really believe taking rest is incredibly crucial. Yes. We're also coming out of a lot of decades where burnout was a trend and hustle culture was a trend, and you had to keep going on and on and on and on, and you just couldn't switch off. You're not allowed to switch off. And chronic stress was actually cool. That's not really cool either. And to be very honest, being in either extreme is just not good for you. But if you're not burnt out and you are not stressed beyond your normal human amount, and sometimes even if you are, you just have to wake up and do the things. In the last episode, we talked about getting from point A to point B. And motivation isn't a vehicle that makes you do that. It is a list of things that you're very aware that you need to get through, without which you're not going to reach point B. So, missing classes, skipping certain things that you've committed to. For me, it would be gym or football training practice, eating something unhealthy very often. So, like cheating on whatever diet or like nutrition regimen I have in place for myself, just because I'm not motivated, is not an excuse. It is very much also nowhere close to being a legitimate reason to not do it. For example, if we made ourselves completely aware of all of the health risks that we would have, and just not just kind of count on like motivation to delay those, or like not even get into a situation where you're medically unhealthy, then we should also not use motivation for anything else, to heal ourselves from anything else, to improve ourselves for anything else. So once you're really aware of all the health risks, that you might end up getting because you use this excuse over and over again, I really think we'd see that we need to treat life or treat our own health, our mental health, our bodies like we would treat, taking a doctor's appointment or needing to go to a doctor when you're unhealthy, right? Your failing health at the time of taking a doctor's appointment is enough reason to not make excuses in that moment and to just go to the doctor. You don't need motivation in the morning to realize that, oh fuck, I'm really sick. I need to heal myself. I need to call a doctor. So, if this mindset shift can become a habit for you, then all the next steps become so much easier. So, become aware, take the time, understand that what you're doing to yourself, or rather, what you're not doing because you're using motivation as an excuse. Make yourself aware of the consequences of that. What does it mean in the short term and what does it mean for you in the long term? And realize that it's not good for you to keep using motivation as a crutch or as an excuse to go or to not go. If the mindset shift can become a habit, if you can do this for everything in your life, your work, your health, exercise, even relaxation, even your relationships, you'll be able to understand both what you need in your life to make it better and what you want in your life that supports your progress. Until you are aware, you won't even see the difference between what you really need and what you really want. So while motivation feels like the spark we're chasing, it is not a fixed trait. It's not something that, some people are just magically born with. Trust me, it's not. It's very much a part of the process, and like happiness, it is very much a byproduct of a process. By doing something repeatedly, there's a chance that you might actually end up enjoying it, or at least understand the rewards and benefits from it and begin to enjoy that. For that, you have to build willpower, which has to come from within yourself. And that willpower only comes from consistent habits and not allowing yourself to break those habits. So, form habits, understand what it takes to continue with those habits, to continue over a long time, and make those habits unbreakable. I have some simple ways to cultivate this kind of discipline. At the end of this, I will take you through a list of people whose podcasts I listen to very often and a lot. But just to give you like a quick run through, I've learned a lot from people like Stephen Bartlett, who's got a podcast called Diary of a CEO. I've learned from people like Dr. Andrew Huberman, also from books like Atomic Habits. There's another book called Anti-Fragile. Anti-Fragile helped me so much to get through COVID and a lot of massive depressive phases. And I'll never let go of those principles. I'll never let go of the principles that I've learned from these books. But the first thing any of them talk about, the first thing anyone talks about is really not motivation. None of them talk about anything coming from motivation. The first thing you need to do is initiate action. Just get the clothes on for the gym or prep your food for your diet for the week, your nutrition plan for the week. Just get to the place on time for a meeting that you don't want to go to, even and especially when you don't want to do these things. When you've got something unreliable like motivation, treat that trait as one of your most useless friends. Those people who you know will be late, you cannot rely on them, you don't know if they're going to show up. You do the action until they learn to follow, until they learn that you're always punctual, that you care about these things, that you're serious about timings and you're serious about what you've committed to. You do the action until they learn to follow. So you act first, let the motivation follow, or just don't rely on them at all. Right? That's what we end up doing with our friends. Like, we just give up. You're just like, man, this is not worth my time. This is not worth your excuses. So don't rely on it at all. Stick to your routine no matter what is happening around you. The more you do it, the more you will be able to do it, and the more you will find the right path to doing it. Or at least this is how it truly worked for me. Once I got to that point, everything just gets so much easier and so much better. Now, I'm saying easier, but easier is very relative. None of it is easy. I don't think any part of life is easy, but there are certain personality traits that you can learn for yourself to make it easier, and one of the main ones is discipline. Discipline is very learnable at any age, and I think we just think about it wrong. Um, so what I what I would like to talk about next is true discipline and flexibility. Before we go into that, just give me a second. I'm going to make sure my stream is working, and it looks like it is. So I'm happy about that. I would also like to remind you that this is a new channel. This is something new that I'm trying out, to do these episodes and do them live instead of recording them, editing them, and then putting them up. I really want to make myself more available to kind of doing these things and be a little friendlier and doing them live, so that while I'm talking, if people have questions or if you just want to come and hang out and have coffee with me in the middle of the week, then you can. But yes, please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments, drop in some stuff on the chat, and that would be really nice for me. Okay, before I make it too awkward for myself to continue, the next thing I want to talk about is true discipline and flexibility. Most people have this like hardcore, intense idea of discipline, where they think, oh, this person he just does this over and over again at this exact time, every single day to the maximum 100% regularly, and they stick to it and commit to it, and that commitment is forever. Oh my god. And before you even started making something a habit, you psyched yourself out so much because you think it's such a big thing to commit to, and it's really not. And I think after listening to so many people who enjoy using this lack of motivation or lack of discipline in their personalities as an excuse, I genuinely think at this point everyone's forgotten what discipline actually means, and what it means to cultivate discipline, what it truly is, and how to use it to improve yourself. So let's imagine a slight extreme for a moment. You can close your eyes and do this, so you can just read and listen. If you went on a holiday to an unusual place with weird food, you didn't speak the language, okay, fine, Google Translate, sure, yay, good for you. But you're surrounded by all this unfamiliar food and water. Would you allow yourself to starve and die? Yeah, I didn't think so. You'd find some way to eat your meals, mostly on time, in some kind of regular manner. You'd have to make a little effort at first, eat some things that you don't really want to, try something new for once in your life. And kind of experiment with it until you figured out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But would you stop eating completely because you couldn't find like food that you eat every day at home? No, you wouldn't. That is the essence of discipline. You know what you need to do to survive or have better outcomes repeatedly at regular intervals with some amount of adjustment. And you just do it no matter what, even if you have to adjust the timings, the variables, how you're doing it, so on and so forth, because you don't like the consequences. You don't eat, you die. You don't eat, you will be in pain. You don't eat, you will be miserable, cranky, angry, whatever, shit all the day. Right? So it works for everything. Understand the consequences and the shitty situations you could put yourself in simply because you just didn't do that one thing because you were not motivated to do it. Does this now sound stupid? Because I think it really is. And like as I'm saying this also, I can already hear the other excuses, right? That we layer on top of this. Oh, it's not just motivation. I have no time. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'm too old. No, man, that's not you. That's not you talking. That is not the reality of the situation. Sure, if you have like chronic injuries and they're really, really bad and you need some expert advice, there are a load of doctors and physios out there who will help you reach a point where you can cultivate healthy habits. But otherwise, this stuff is just your brain admitting that those future consequences are just not a priority to you. And that is a terrible approach. It is a terrible approach in general to life. Like, I don't think we would do that with our jobs because we know the consequence for doing that with our jobs is no money, no food on the table, and none of the other stuff that, you know, you would love to do. Like, we don't seem to have excuses to go out and drink or like have dinner with friends or keep that second stomach for dessert or attend social events for work or like general work events, scheduled meetings, friends' weddings. Suddenly, those occasions, the answer becomes, oh, how can I miss this? How can I not come? Oh, how can I not drink? How can I not do it? So, what is our mind playing tricks on us? And why, if that's our approach for all of those things, that yeah, you get a little bit of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, all your happy hormones. Um, but there are a lot of things you could be doing for your health that requires effort that we don't do. So why don't we approach our health the same way? Why don't we approach our mind and our bodies the same way? Discipline also comes into mental health practices, being more mindful, being better to yourself, right? Understanding where your depression comes from, understanding what's triggering it. All of that also requires daily practice, daily introspection, daily self improvement, or just rest. Like sometimes we just can't sit down and do nothing because we don't have the discipline to do nothing. So I really think like if we treated our health, our minds, and our bodies the same way, the only thing that will end up happening from it is that we'll be better off. Like after all, those are the things that we need to carry with us when we go for meetings and events and um, social plans, partying, whatever. You have to take your body with you. You have to take your mind with you. You have to go and meet people with that same vessel, right? So, a simple way out of this brain black hole of not wanting to do things and not building that discipline or seeing discipline only from that specific lens of like what we were kind of brainwashed to thinking it is in school. It is to accept that discipline does not mean this massive sacrifice or this massive, compromise. It doesn't only mean boring routines. It doesn't mean you have to make like drastic, scary, ridiculous crash diet type changes or like massive, workout changes in the week or anything like that for your life. So get that idea out of your head. Take a break for however long you need from yourself. Get that reset and accept that you can and have the willpower to actually inculcate discipline into your life. All you really need to do to kind of kickstart that is maybe plan your week. Find 2 days in the week to do something you know you need to do that you don't normally like doing, and just go do it and take those hours. Put your phone off, just say no to people, say no to things, and get it done. If you can be flexible, then so is your discipline. If you can adapt, discipline will follow. But if you are rigid, stubborn, if you think you're helpless, if you yourself think you are not worth the effort, then discipline is not your problem. Motivation is not your problem. It's just you. It's just your mind that is not broken out of that vicious cycle. And maybe you need to find the cause or like the beginning of that cycle to be able to break through it. But you can break through it. There is a way to then overcome that cycle. And I really think learning these things from other athletes, other sports people, people who don't have a choice but to do the same thing over and over again, to put their minds through difficult situations, to put their bodies through difficult situations repeatedly, to get injured, to fall down, to break something, and then, to have to come out of that at some point. I think learning from people like this is priceless. There is definitely some kind of chemical X that athletes have, high performance athletes have. Um, and it's really just the building blocks of their mental strength. Now, the misconception that even I genuinely had from the beginning is that you are born with this chemical X. It's not learnable. Some people, like, I'm sure you've also heard some people say, oh my God, like they're just like that. And yeah, sure, maybe some part of their personality started off like that. But again, that chemical X is very learnable. So for certain people, it's really the building blocks of their mental strength. It can become the building blocks of your mental strength as well. And before you think it, before you say it, before you even say it yourself, just because you do not have this chemical X and you do not have these building blocks, or you're not an athlete, or you don't play sport, or don't do any of this, it's still not an excuse enough for you to not work on yourself. If these things are learnable, if you really care for yourself, I genuinely believe that you can incorporate it in your day to day in some way, and not being an athlete is not an excuse. So that leads me to the third thing I want to talk about today, which is an athlete's chemical X. And I really believe it's broken down into 4 pillars. So there's something about people who play sport, especially when you're a high performance athlete and elite sport, that puts us kind of in awe of them immediately. So what is that? It's a question that I've had on my mind for a really long time. I sat and did a lot of research over the last couple of years to learn from these people, successful athletes, successful people, high performance individuals, elite sports people, medal winners, Olympians, Paralympians, world champs. What do they have that I don't have? What do they have that I can learn from them? What is it that they do to really just keep going and achieving and achieving and achieving every day, every week, every month, every year, every season? Then maybe I can learn from and do the same for myself in my life. What is it that helps me improve to a point that even when I chase something, that process itself and that reward becomes more meaningful. So after a while, I kind of realized what those four pillars are, that is kind of the foundation for their entire mental framework. I genuinely could be wrong, but for me, these seem like the four most important things. One is grit, then integrity, honesty, and the fourth one is the drive to improve something every single day. So, starting with the first, grit is what you build from discipline. Grit sounds like I will do it daily, I will do it well, I will do it no matter what, I will do it no matter who's watching, no matter what circumstances I am in. I am strong, I will get it done. Integrity is what keeps that grit in check. So, did I do it the way I promised myself I would? Have I been fair to myself? Okay, yesterday I failed because I was tired, so I will admit that failure to myself. I'll identify my mistake, I will correct it, and I will try again. Honesty is actually the toughest but the simplest of the four. If you lie about your progress or your results or your commitment, it's already over there. You will not have the integrity to keep yourself in check, and then whatever grit you've built is not actually going to an honest goal or honest progress or honest results. So, for me, if you're not honest with yourself and you're not honest with the other people who are supporting you, it's over, right? Like any relationship. So, I don't really want to explain this too much. I think you guys will understand. It depends on your relationship with honesty itself, and it depends on your relationship with people and how honest you are with them. But I think it's the toughest, but it's the simplest thing, and it's the starting point for all of it. The fourth one is the drive to improve yourself every day, or just any kind of self betterment at regular intervals. So this one for me was crazy, because why do gold medalists, silver medalists, anyone standing on a podium, if that was their goal, why do they go and compete over and over and over again? Simply because they want to do better. Better than last season, better record, beat my record, better than last year, better than last month, better than last week. And that fight is internal. I want to be better than myself. I don't want to be better than somebody else. That may be a challenge. That may be a cause of motivation. But I want to do it, and I want to fight harder because I want to be better than I was. So it's the one thing that also brings them out of injury. Because when you're injured, you don't want to just be, better than somebody else, right? You're not comparing yourself to anybody else. You just want to improve. You want to come out of this injury better than you came out of the last one. You want to come out of this injury mentally stronger than you were for the last one, right? So it brings them out of injury, not just to get out of the injury, but I found that it just brings them out of injury in the most productive way possible. You are so much better you're stronger through that injury, mentally, physically, all of it. It's what makes all of the other effort worth it. To just wake up and say, today I'm better than I was yesterday. It is the one sentence that honestly gives me the best sleep on the worst of my days. To just sit down and say, you know what, today I did something better than I did yesterday, no matter how shit my day was. And then that sentence, just that sentence, is a reward for me on my best days. So it kind of pushes me forward regardless of what else is happening around me, because I know I did my best. I know I did better than I could in the previous situation, and I know I did better than I could the previous day. And that's really it. Like, if you work backwards from this, you will just see how much more you have to rely on than fucking motivation. Grit involves perseverance and passion for your long-term goals. Integrity and honesty ensure that you hold yourself accountable even when no one is watching. The drive for self-betterment then pushes you to continuously seek that growth, that learning from your failures and your setback, and at no point then does anything tough or anything hard become anything negative. So, the last thing that I want to talk about is the other and only thing that just pisses me off about how other people consider this more than this motivation excuse. And that is people thinking that any of this has something to do with luck. None of what I have spoken about right now had anything to do with waking up and being lucky. And it's just a big fucking no. If you're someone who's looked at a person and said, oh my god, you are so lucky for getting to go here and getting to do this and winning this and having your own company and having your own this and having your own that, oh my fucking god, no. If you really learn to care about people, you'd realize how little luck and chance have to do with anything they have and how much it actually has to do with people's actions, choices, willpower, and the ability to see that chance and the effort they make to grasp the opportunity when that 1% luck actually strikes. If any of you watching this are gamers, if you're doing like a build on your character, you will see that luck and chance are usually like the smallest traits that you can have. And more often than not, there is the largest limitation on it, and it just doesn't go beyond like 10% of your game being actually influenced by anything like luck or chance. Even if you play Monopoly, how many luck chance cards are there? Like, how many stops can you do it? And what are the odds of good luck versus bad luck? So, how can you turn around and tell a person that, oh my god, you got lucky? Right? So, my fourth point is high performance individuals are not lucky. They've just built better neurological pathways because they've considered a lot of other things. They've considered their own actions and they are not afraid of failure. So I've come now to believe, after like many years of being stupid and just dumb and like unaware of myself, I've come now to believe that success is built through intentional action. It's the way to strengthen the brain's capacity for focus, for resilience, for growth, for adaptability. Um, the podcast that I will talk to you about at the end of this, they talk about it a lot. The book Anti-Fragile talks about it a lot as well. And I've truly come to believe this even more when I see people think that they're successful and good at what they do, but actually they're really not. Like, you will meet a lot of people in your life who talk big, but they don't really put their money where their mouth is. They've somehow managed to, I don't know, learn the game or whatever. They've wormed their way through, they've found some kind of hack to get through life. But you will notice that they will reach a plateau, but they have this kind of superiority complex where they deeply believe that they are successful and they are good at what they do, but there's no actual foundation. They're not adaptable people. They don't have very high emotional intelligence. They're not very caring. They make a lot of bad, selfish decisions. They're not altruistic decisions. They're not there for the improvement of everybody. They're there for the improvement for themselves. So, yeah, sure, I mean, being selfish will carry you forward to some extent. But the reason they're making themselves sound like they are very successful is because whatever failures they've had, they've not really learned from. They've gone and blamed it on somebody else. They've blamed it on the rest of the world. And then they've told other people that they've achieved their goals because they got lucky. So you can also tell that there is this other side to it where when you hear these kind of keywords, you can tell if people have actually fought for their success and understood the part that luck plays in your life. So they'll kind of also be that sensitive to other people who may have achieved more than them. And yeah, sure, you might be a little envious or jealous that they've gotten somewhere. But if you really understand the hard work it takes to be truly, truly successful, you will not tell other people that they got lucky. Um, I think no one is lucky. No high performing individual, at least, is just simply lucky. Sure, they may be wealthy. Sure, there are millions of people who squander away their wealth, right? Because they're just plain stupid. Those people have destroyed their luck. So, yeah, sure, they started out lucky, but they did nothing with it. They didn't put in the effort to use that opportunity or use that luck or use that chance to make something out of themselves. There's a very small percentage of people who actually make the effort to take that luck, to take that wealth, to take the privilege that they are born into and make something out of it. Or majority of us are exactly the opposite. You are born with whatever you are born with, and then you just push hard, you just fight all the time and find that path for success for yourself. So what is it if it's not luck that can make somebody successful, if it's not like generational wealth that can make somebody successful? What makes people successful? What makes goals achievable? What powers humans, the best of humans, to do the best of their work? And then how do we mere mortals achieve that? For me, the simple answer, which is not such a simple answer, but the simple answer is neuroplasticity. I think high performers and high performance athletes, because of the way that their lives have been, they've trained their brains for success. They've trained their brains to see failure and hardship as a path to success, very much part of the process. So that chemical X that they have, they're not born with it. They've cultivated it through consistently showing up for themselves in hard times, especially. For them, excellence is only achievable because they're powered by that foundation of mental strength. I've also realized that enough studies show now that regular physical activity and in general repeatedly doing things that you think are hard and challenging and outside of your comfort zone enhances your neural pathways, it enhances brain volume, it improves memory, it builds new neural pathways, and it also apparently reduces the risk of long term neurodegenerative diseases. This is something that I very newly discovered, and right now, what most people in medical science, well, maybe not most, but a lot of scientists are looking at is cures for things like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And I genuinely believe that if we can get rid of those, all of us would have much longer and much more fulfilling lives. I genuinely don't think every athlete knows also what they're doing for themselves. But I think what they do know is the consequences to themselves of not doing it. So now that we've kind of sat with this, thought about it, considered it, I would really encourage you to sit and maybe think of things that I haven't thought about and really care about yourself and care about these topics. Once we can understand what it looks like to care about it in a meaningful way, I think there's something more we can think about. And this is very much how I frame like my life, my time, my choices, and the intent with which I personally strive to achieve my goals. Um, would I be satisfied with myself if today was my last day on this planet? Would I be satisfied with myself and my choices if it was 6 days from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now? Or what if I just live for a really, really long time? Would my old self be happy with this choice? If that question feels too loaded for you, let me leave you with something else. 90 days from now, if you knew you could have a better, healthier body and mind, if you knew you could pick up great habits to enrich your life, got rid of stupid people who take advantage of your time, don't reciprocate your efforts, gotten rid of stupid addictions, time wasting distractions, and incorporated the belief that you can achieve your short and long term goals, or 90 days from now, you could be the same as you are today, as you were yesterday, as you were 6 days, months, years ago, and continue with the same complaints, excuses, while criticizing anyone and everyone else who refuses to change or get better. Which one would you choose? And yes, I know that we all sit at all these restaurants, give them a bad review, get some food, get angry because your sibling just never returns your clothes, you get quite pissed off at your friend who keeps ditching you last minute. So you're sitting there criticizing other people who refuse to change and get better. At the same time, you're going through every day and not bothering to change your habits. Why? Oh, I'm not motivated. Oh, I don't have the grit and the integrity. Oh, I don't have the discipline. Oh, I just, it's too tough. Is it? I think that's something we should all think about and we should all sit and decide. If this really struck a chord with you, please drop a comment. If you think this is a conversation that someone you know would really benefit from, please share it with them. If you think there's something that I have not touched upon, or if you think there's something I've said that's not right, again, please share your feedback with me. I would be so happy to see that you care about this. And otherwise, as always, Ninja thinks no one cares. And I will see you again the next time, whether you care or whether you don't. And that's kind of it from me for now. So I think I was gonna keep some time for Q&A, but it is a weekday afternoon. I don't see anyone really leaving any questions in chat at the moment. So take your time. Like I said, I know this was a little bit heavy. We talked about a lot today. We've done a pretty long one today as well. So thank you to everyone who joined me live. Thank you to everyone who watches this later. And I will see you next time.